mother, when she passed away, she was the director of the Dickson County Health Center for several years. Growing up, I grew up in Burns, still live in the same house I was born and raised in. 1975 I was born. Daddy built that house in 1976. I lived in a trailer from my first year of my life in the backyard. When Daddy passed, the house was left to me. I moved back into the house. Well, I actually moved in the last 4 or 5 years of Daddy's life to help take care of him. So I've been pretty much at the same spot in District 11 in the city of Burns 47 years. I mean, where I was born and raised at. My mom and Daddy owned a little shell station right across the road pretty much most of my life with Mike and May Chandler. I was born and raised up in that store, knew everybody around there. It's a different culture, different atmosphere back then in the city of Burns, I remember, I tell people how Burns has changed, and I meet people now. Daddy run for mayor in 87. I think it was maybe 92, 93, somebody run against him, probably in 93. I was still pretty, no, it was probably been 89. I was still pretty young. I was in school. I graduated in 93, so that sounds about right. And just to tell how people, back then, we didn't have 911. I can remember back when we didn't have 911 systems, and like the little communities had their own phone numbers and your own police departments. Dickson had a police department, Charlotte Sheriff's Department was in Charlotte, White Bluff you called Dean, and in Burns you called Shot, and that's talk about a nickname. Me got a nickname. His real name was Edgar Lee Grove. Called him Shot. Same situation. His daddy called him Big Shot all his life. At some point it got dropped from Big Shot, just Shot, and everybody knowed him as Shot. So but when I was growing up, everybody would send out little cards you put on your refrigerators and stuff, and phone books had Burns Police Department or anything to do with the city of Burns. You had 446-3877. So my whole life, phone rang, somebody had to answer it, So you kind of knew everything that was going on all the time in Burns. But Daddy run for one mayor's re-election, and I remember just vividly somebody saying, "Shot, well, how do you think you done today?" He said, "Well, I either won 361 to 61 or 362 to 60. He said, "I don't know how one person voted." About 5 minutes later, the polls voted. He won 362 to 60. He said, I got her vote. I thought I might. So that was just the kind of difference at that time. You knew your community. You knew everybody in it. You knew everything that was going on. You knew everything in everybody's life. If somebody had a light bulb that needed change, if there was an elderly woman that needed a light bulb changed, phone ring at 5 o'clock in the morning. "Hey, tell Shot I need my light bulb changed." Or, "Hey, tell Shot I need I got to go to the grocery store today. I don't have a ride. He needs to come get me." Of course, times kind of changed like that. And I still know a lot of people in Burns. A lot of the old ones are dying out. But, the roots and the base of Burns is still there. And I've been blessed to grow up in the community that I've grown up in.
It's a wonderful community. I'm blessed to be from Burns myself. We grew up playing ball down there, and it was always a lot of fun, and to be around all those different people, because it was the people that really made playing ball down there so much fun in Burns. And that's another thing that I want to talk to you about in just a second is coaching. That's something that we have in common. Before we get to that, you look good. I will say you look good. You came in here to the studio with me today, and I know you had an accident a few months back. So for the people wondering how you're doing, how you feeling today?
Yeah, been out over 9 months ago now. I'm fortunate to be here, and that's the reason I'm running for office today. 9 months ago, I was actually been mowing right-of-ways inside the city there. Now I'm actually over the streets and maintenance of Burns, and I'm a Parks and Recs director. And how I got all them titles, I don't know, but I am. It just kind of one job progressed into the next, to the next, to the next. While I was actually moving the tractor and the bush hog, the side cutter, to the new ballpark on 96. And I was coming off the hill there at 96 at almost Spencer Mill Road, and I was hit from behind. I don't really remember a whole lot of the accident. The doctors told me, I had a concussion and a fractured skull, and I kind of remember a loud noise now. He told me, the doctors have told me over time my memory might come back. But what had happened, reading the accident reports and people that seen the accident, is when it hit me, he kind of locked into the back of the tractor. It kind of turned it sideways, throwed me off the tractor in the middle of 96, and then he kind of run over me, and it went over into the ditch. And I'm very blessed, man. It's changed my life, and I know everybody don't want to hear my story, but at some point in time I passed away during that time, and I've got a pretty cool story. I don't know, I'm not going to get into people's personal beliefs, but I know what I saw, I know what I felt. I got to see my mother and father again, and you know, and that's kind of where I stand today. You know, I had a lot of injuries, but, you know, broke pretty much everything in my body. My hips are wired together now. My legs are still rods. But I'm blessed to be here, and every day's a blessing, and I understand it. And when I was laying in the hospital for a month and a half, and I had just overwhelming support. You just don't realize the people's life you're involved in until something like this happens. You know, you just kind of think you go day by day, and you meet people, and people come and go out of your lives. You rebuild your relationships. People, it's just, man, I'd be scared to put a number on how many people reached out to me, and I might get emotional here, Justin. And that thank me for being in a part of their kid's life, or coaching them, or hey, I appreciate it. I'll never forget the day you helped me do this, or your mom and daddy, and you know, you're here for a reason. I heard that probably about 300 or 400 people. You're here for a reason. You're alive for a reason now. You know, figure out what your reason is. And I laid there, and I had months to lay there and think about it, and you know, I think I am here for a reason, you know, and that kind of led me to where I am today, to run for the Commissioner District 11. Hey, kids are my passion. This county's my passion. My community is my passion. Hey, don't just sit here and just be a part of the, if you really love this community, if you really love your school systems, if you really love the kids in this community, get involved. And so that's kind of led me into to running for the county commissioner. I'm here for a reason. If the people want me to help and work and put my work at the end of this county and this district, that's what I'm here for.
And I'm sure, you know, when you were down and out, you were probably, you know, ready to get back into things. And I know one of the first things that you did was get back into coaching. And that's something that's been a part of your life. It's something that, as you already mentioned, I mean, you know, coaching is fun because of the sports, but it's really putting you into the community and giving you a chance to work with young people and make a difference in their lives is really why I think we do what we do. And the sports is just kind of an avenue to be able to do that. And so, and I know you've coached for a while, and talk just a little bit about your coaching career.
Well, you know, I always played sports, and I always played football and basketball and baseball growing up. And my oldest daughter, Peyton, you know, Peyton was a pretty good athlete. And growing up, when she got about 7, 8, 9, I thought this kid might have a little bit of talent, you know. And so when she got to be about 9, we joined the travel ball scene. And we was going all over Nashville. We was playing with these big elite teams. We was on Tennessee Worth at that time, or some different ones. And I was picking up kids, and we was playing around. There's a few local kids, Jennifer and Ashley Scott. Jennifer Scott and Lewis Scott was big on it, and we went and played with them a lot. And I got to thinking, you know, when she turned about 10, I thought, we're going out here and we're helping all these other kids. I was on assistant coaching team. I said, we're helping all these other kids get better to come to Dickson and beat us when they get to high school. And I said, it just don't make sense to me. We got all these little local kids spread out here and there. And me and several people, Sandra Odom, McCray Odom's mama, she was still a very dear friend of mine. McCray had picked up and played with us some, and Jennifer and Lewis was very good at what they done. So I got with them. I said, you know, it don't make sense for us to keep making these other kids better to come to high school and beat us. I said, I think we need to work on our kids, our community, our teams, and see what happens. So at that time, I started a travel ball team called the DC Cubs, and I brought in, you know, Sandra as a coach, Odom, and Jennifer helped me as a coach. And there's been a few come in and out, but we had our basics of our team: Brooklyn Lee, Peyton Grove, Ashley Scott, McCray Odom, Selena Crafton, Allison Pendergrass, Keely Bell, Becca Estes, and everybody that knows softball in Dickson County knows they're kind of the core group that's made softball what it is in this county now. So we coached them every day and night. We went all over the country with this place, these kids. We done everything we could for them. And I know I'm leaving somebody out. I mean, it's been so long ago with that group. I hate to leave anybody out because that was Rachel Rife. I mean, there were so many special kids on that team but we put them together, and we took them all over the place. We made them competitive. And when they went into high school, man, as freshmen, you can go up there and pitch it, they pretty much took over. And as freshman year, they went up there and they finished second. Played sophomore, you know, it went from second place to state championship to the best team I think we ever had. We finished second, then another state championship. But that group of girls was special. And I think that the little girls around here now that's doing what they are looked at that and kind of saw them girls was kind of their heroes, looking up to them. You know, they done some special things at that time. So which I now coach my younger daughter, my middle daughter, Coralie, with the DC Cubs. We're still doing the same thing. The only difference with this team is they kind of got split up. Half of them going to Creekwood now, and half of them going to Dickson, which is kind of, I hate it. But I think that's the excellence of the way travel ball in Dickson County got put on the map. And I think it's still following it to this day. I've had this conversation with people about high school coaches and middle school coaches. As a high school coach, you can only do so much. A high school coach can't win a state championship. A high school coach can lose a state championship. But it takes year-round work, great parents, kids that want to be developed. It takes 10, 11, or 12 kids that buy into the team concept to win a state championships more in high school softball, because there's so many competitive divisions around. You go to Burns every weekend now and see the ballpark full with 8 to 100 to 1,000 people. And that's another avenue. That's one great thing we've done in Burns. We give a lot of local kids an opportunity to play softball in Burns to progress their skills without going all over the state or trying to find a team out and practicing in Murfreesboro or Columbia or something. Burns has give every opportunity to the kids that want to play softball, the girls that want to play softball in the Burns area, Dickson County area, to come do it locally, cheap, and get competitive and get better. So where we go from there?
It's a really nice field. We're just talking. We can go in whichever direction you want, but it's a really nice field. I was asking you really about your coaching career, which kind of ties in with the community and all that good stuff. But that field out there in Burns, I didn't get to play when we played. It was over in the middle of town, right there.
Park.
And but that new field is fantastic. I got a chance to watch my niece play out there one night.
Right.
It's a good.
Hey,
good
we
field.
take a lot of pride in it. And I talk about the whole field. When I played for the Burns Cowboys, I played at Dickson. Somewhere around 85, probably 86. I don't really remember all the exact dates and times, but I was playing Pee-wees over here at middle school. We didn't have a field in Burns. There was one field. There was a baseball field that backed up to there, and there were several people that my dad was the mayor at that time, so it had to be around 87, I think, when he first took office. Him, Mike Chandler, Marshall Sullivan. I'm gonna leave people out. The Wombles, Gentco Construction, the Jeanettes, I remember them. There were so many people that got involved that wanted their kids to come back to Burns and play. Sonny, I can't think Sonny's last name, but he, there was just so many people that got involved, and that's when the two fields was built and the football field built long way. Which that football field, it runs uphill, and people say, "Oh, that field runs uphill." The reason why the football field run uphill on the north end zone side was because the field line from the old school, from the gym in the old school, was right there, and you couldn't go no lower. You would get to the field lines, and it wasn't wide enough. So, but when that's the reason why I hired. When the mayor and the city council come to me about 5 or 6 years ago, everybody know the mess that the park was in. Landon Mathis inherited that mess, and this city council, and man, that city in Landon has done an amazing job. I mean, it just wore them out. They had been trying to fix it since he was elected mayor, and he was trying to get. We're not a rich community. People think Burns is a rich community. The community overall is a rich community, but the city of Burns does not have a great tax base. And I think I asked Carol the other day, Carol, what do our property taxes are? And I think the city's revenue on property taxes is only like $160,000 to $170,000 a year. A lot of these big houses that people think's in Burns are not in Burns.
Right.
And most of the cities get their money and revenue to generate taxes is through sales tax. Well, Burns is in a unique situation because you can live in Burns, come to the city of Dickson, and spend your sales tax money at Walmart, at the Kroger's, at the so we're really what our mayor and city council does with our revenue and our projected revenue and what we invest into our kids and our park is an amazing thing, because we don't have the enormous sales tax revenues. We got J Mart, the Rock Court. The Rock Court is probably the biggest sales tax revenue we have, probably, besides our ballpark now. And our ballpark is generating money. I mean, we finally turned it to a negative to a positive, but to do that, we're still investing into it. And I hope by this year, we're building a fifth field. We about got our fifth field done, and we're finally got the lights approved. We got some COVID money and stuff to put in new lights for the football field. The foundation, the infrastructure, and everything's there for the football. I'm hoping within the next 30 days the light package is going to be delivered. We got COVID money, thank God, because it was, to put them new lights in, it's about $250,000. And I just told you our tax base revenue was $160,000 to $170,000 a year. So it's been a lot of sponsors out in the community. Man, if you go up there and look, we try to appreciate our sponsors. There's a few I need to get up there. I've had to go door to door and talk to a lot of businesses, but everybody's reached out to help complete that park because it's been a burden to the city's taxpayers. The city of Burns itself, there's very few children and kids that play at that park. So it's not really fair to put all the burden on the taxpayers that's older community in the older part of Burns. Then they don't get really a lot of benefit out of it. So the mayor, myself, my parks board, our city council has done, if you really look at what they've done, not just sit outside and fuss about what not been done, but what they've done to get it to where we are today, it's really an amazing feat of how they've got that park and complex looking.
Well, and if anybody hears any random noises, they're cutting the grass right outside the window here. Right outside my office, they're cutting the grass. So I apologize about that little extra noise in case anybody's wondering what that is. It's not technical difficulties. We've got the situation under control. It's just they're cutting the grass out there. But let's sort of shift now. I appreciate you telling me all this because as somebody who grew up in Burns, I love talking about Burns. It's a real special place to those of us who are from there, and which kind of leads me to the next question, which is about the office that you're running for here. And so you're running for county commission. Can you tell the people who are listening just a little bit about what that is? Because you've mentioned Landon and Landon Mathis is the mayor of the city of Burns, and there are certain things that the mayor of the city of Burns does, and then there's a county commission, which is sort of covers the county, which covers different parts of Burns. But I'll let you sort of explain what is a county commissioner to somebody who doesn't know.
Well, it'd be the same thing as a city council member is, but it's just on a countywide scale. The unique thing about my district in District 11 is that mainly that Donnie Wise and Landon Mathis are the mayors of my districts. 95% of my districts in the city limits of Dickson or or city limits of Burns. So as a county commissioner, that kind of eliminates my ability or input on streets or police or fire, for my people in my district. The only thing I think is not in the city would be Lakeview Acres that I might be able to help people with if they come out with a street or a drainage or some kind of issue like that, or a zoning issue, because everything else is going to fall under Mayor Wise and Mayor Mathis and their city councils and their planning and zoning departments and things like that. The one thing that the county does is vote on money for everything, for the sheriff's departments, the EMAs, the rescue squads, any kind of department heads, the road departments for the countywide, jail, school board. We don't have any input over the way the school board spends the money. The school board appropriates their own money, their own board. They have their own board, but they will have to present it for us to approve a certain amount of their money to come to. There's certain things that's got to be done, or certain things that don't. But anything like a school being built or something like that would have to go before the county commission. Which Mayor Ryle right now, he's under election, but he's kind of the mayor, just like Mayor Wise is of the city of Burns, and Mayor Mathis is of the city. Mayor Wise is the city of Dickson, Mayor Mathis is the city of Burns. It's kind of set up. It's just a countywide thing. My input would always be for kids. Anything I do for the kids is what I'm going to vote and go for. That's my number one thing. A lot of people say, well, maybe you ought to run for school board. School board got their purpose, but there's also things in this county that we can do to develop for kids. And I've talked to Mayor Ryle about it. There's things I believe that we can do better on a Parks and Rec situation. We don't have a Parks and Rec department as far as I know as the county. I believe that there's zoning issues that we're going to have to address that's important to everybody in the county. People know what I have people out ask, what's your beliefs on county on zoning and issues and some of these things that's going on, and I'm conflicted. I believe that if I own a piece of land, that I ought to be able to make as most money as I can off of it.
Sure.
And a lot of people get aggravated about the zoning issues, but I believe we live in America. If I own a piece of property, that I ought to be able to do what I want with it. But on the other hand, I believe that we should not be able to diminish the value of anybody else's property. And I believe that that's where the zoning department comes in. So yeah, out here in these rural communities where these people's wanting to bust up the lots and do different things. Yeah, I get it. You know, hey, get the money while it's here. We live in America. You know, it's our right to make as much money as we can off something we own. But in the same time, we shouldn't be able to depreciate somebody else's, our neighbor's values, depreciate the value of their property at the same time. So that's kind of where I stand on that. And everything is individually different. Everything's some people ask me, how you going to vote? Are you Democrat? You Republican? You this, that? You know what I am? I'm an American that believes in the Constitution. I don't know how I'm going to vote on anything until I sit down and hear both sides of the argument. There's always two sides to every story. There's also a legal opinion. Then, you know, if it's going to affect my constituents, if it's going to affect Mayor Wise and Mayor Mathis and the Burns Council, and I'm going to go talk to them. They're elected by everybody in their district, you know, and I believe that Mayor Wise and Mathis ought to have input in my district because they're leaders in my district. So that's the people I need to go talk to in my district to find out how they're leaning and how they feel like the growth ought to go or how this issue should go. So them two would be very important to me, both of them. I mean, you look at what Mayor Wise has done at the city of Dickson, downtown Dickson, and the growth. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm not one of these people that just sit back and think, hey, Dickson County's bad and this. I think we've got great leaders in place. There's a lot of good that comes out of a lot of good things. We've got a lot of great candidates that's running. Everybody's got opinions. You know, everybody's not going to agree with anything. You know, you can't get 10 people sit down in a room and agree with everything. But I've been in this county a long time. I believe that the integrity of our leadership now is great. I believe we've got great leaders in place, from our sheriffs to our judges to our mayors and our cities. I believe everybody's going in the right direction and pulling. Now, it might not be everybody's belief that they might not be benefiting this person or that person, but I don't believe that anybody's maliciously doing anything that they don't feel like is the best for this county. You know, so I trust the voters of Dickson County to put the leadership in place that they want to get behind, and I'm going to trust them people to do their jobs. And that's kind of what I believe. I believe we got great department heads, and I believe that we got great leaders, and I'm going to follow them, and I'm going to follow their leads and get their input on a lot of things and see how it's going to affect each and every one of them. And that's probably the way I'll sit down and vote.
It's tough to, run for office. I talked to somebody, I've been doing several of these interviews, and one thing somebody told me the other day that really stuck with me was, it's tough to make that decision whether or not to run, and then the whole process of running is tough. But eventually, if you win, then that's just the beginning of everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. Hey, my mom and daddy always taught me right from wrong, but don't mean I always done right from wrong. You know?
Right.
And every day's a blessing to me, and hey, I make mistakes every day. There's not much I ain't done, tried in my life. And I'm not sitting here, if you're looking for somebody that's never made a mistake, you don't want to come at me, because I'm that guy that's done it all. I mean, I've made mistakes throughout my whole life, but fortunately I think I've learned from a lot of them, and I've grown as a person. I'm not the same person today I was as a 20-year-old. I'm not the same person today I was as a 30-year-old. I'm not the same person today I was at a 45-year-old. And I think that's the evolution of life. Hopefully you never stop growing and learning and starting to become a better person. My kids and my family has changed my life, and anybody that knows me knows my girls is number one in my life. There's nothing more important to me than my girls. I've been through a lot of rough stuff in my life. I lost my mama when I was young. I lost my daddy. I still feel like I'd already aged. The hardest thing I've ever went through, then I've had this wreck, where I've been immobilized, somebody that never slows down, that's learning how to walk again, and that's trying to do things. And, the hardest thing I ever went through was my divorce. I've been going through a divorce, and I was married to a woman for 25 years that I loved dearly, and it come to the point where we just couldn't get along no more. And she's not right, and I'm not right. It's just we couldn't get along no more. And the hardest thing I've ever went through in my life is divorce. Through the wreck, the everything, the pain of losing parents and losing people. And I'm human, you know what I'm saying? And each day I get up and try to do better. And like I said, I don't feel like I'm the same person I am today that I was a year ago. So I hope that everybody in our community that keeps growing as people and evolving as people and have more, I'm hard to get along with sometimes. I recognize I'm very comfortable in my own skin. I got my ways of doing things. But one thing I'll never compromise on is my integrity for kids. And I believe that that I love my girls. I love my girls. All the girls I've coached. I'm also defense coordinator for the Burns Middle School. So I'm coaching boys now. It's an interesting story. How I went from girls to boys. People ask me that all the time. Well, I always loved playing football. I was pretty decent at it in high school. I've done all right. And Coach Wells, me and him graduated together. Went to school together, played baseball together, football together, all through school, and graduated at the same time. And he had a tough first year up at Burns, and I saw him out somewhere. He said, I really need your the way you coach, and I need your intensity to helping our boys on defense. I really wish you'd help me. And I said, Rusty, you don't want me coaching football. He said, oh, I do. He said, come talk to Corey. And I thought, So me, him, Corey sat down one day, and Corey asked me one question, and I thought, I'm fixing to get fired right off the bat. I'm going to try my best not to get this job, because they don't want me coaching school football. I said, he said, what's your defensive philosophy? And I said, Coach, dude, my defense philosophy is we're going to hit somebody. I said, if we don't hit nobody, I'm going to run across the field and tackle their coach at the end of the ball game. I thought that would do it. You know what I'm saying? I said, somebody's going to get tackled and hit. And he said, you're hired, And from that day forward, it's been a blast. It's been an awesome run with Coach Burgess and Coach Wells. And, and people, I see people out in the community all the time, oh, y'all just got all the athletes. Y'all just do this. Y'all too successful too soon. No, it starts at the top. And I'm very fortunate to always be around great people. And Corey Duke, if you've not ever worked around Corey Duke, there's a reason why we're successful at Burns so early in our programs is because we got great leadership. And Rusty Wells is just a pleasure to work under, And I've been fortunate in my life to always be around good people and pick up things here and there. It's took me a long time to put it all together. And I want to say, I would like to tell who told me this, but I'm not. But I was talking to a leader in our community not long ago, and it stuck with me what he told me. And if I tell who told me, it really defeats the purpose of him telling me. He said, when you get into politics or you get into leadership or you get into anything, never be afraid to give somebody else credit. Let them get the credit. And he said, if you do that, you'll always be successful. Don't put yourself out there. So and I've kind of thought what he told me, and I thought, I've been fortunate to be a part of a lot of great people and follow the leadership of great people that's put me in great positions to be successful. And so I'm just a very fortunate person like that to learn from different people in this community.
What is so? Let's say that you're lucky enough that the voters go out and vote for you, and they put you in this position to be a county commissioner. What is going to be the number one local political issue that you're going to be focused on? What is one thing that you're really that you've thought about that you're going to focus on if you were to get this job?
First thing I'm going to do if I'm lucky enough to get elected is go sit down and talk to Miss Linda Hayes. She's been there a long time. Miss Linda's been there 22 years, and her husband Tom was there 8 years before her. But so I'm going to value her opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to educate myself on what's going on in the community. And I'm going to educate myself on what's going on right now. And then I'm going to go talk to some of the other county commissioners that I know. Then I'm going to sit down, whoever's elected mayor, and I'm going to go sit down and talk to them. What's going on? What do we need to be looking at? Just because from the outside looking in, I got ideals don't mean they can be implemented sometimes. I need to I got my own ideas and I sound great, but it might, budgets are budgets and everybody wants their piece of the pie. There's a lot of different things in this county where your department heads and different people, they got their own issues and they got their own agendas, and that's their job. It's Sheriff Tim Eads' his job to fight for his fire department. It's the EMA director's job to fight for them. It's the county highway department, whoever's running that department, job to fight for the highway department. So there's a lot of different people that you got to sit down. The courthouse is the judge. Everything goes under our budget. So just because I want something don't mean it's possible. So I can't come out here and make a bunch of promises yet because I don't know what's laying in front of me. So I'm going to educate myself with the people that I know that know what's going on. Like I said, one of the biggest issues will always be with me is the teachers in this county will always have my support. That's why I love coaching, and that's why teachers are so important. Man, you always want to change that child's life. And I tell my coaches, my assistant coaches, we'll never know if we did or not. We're never going to know if we changed the kid's life or not, because you're going to say, oh, they was going to be successful no matter what. But there might be something that we can do to change their life that made them who they are. We're not going to know it. But if you're doing your job as a coach, that's the only chance that we've got to change people's life is these young people. And when I go back to that light and when my days are gone, I want to be standing in front of my maker and saying, you know what? You don't know what you did, but you helped this kid. You developed work ethic, skills, standards in this kid's life that changed him as a human being. And what bigger thing can we do on this earth to make a difference in a kid's life? There's nothing no more important that we can do to actually change somebody's life. And I think that the youth of this community, that's what I'm here for, you know, and that's going to be my goal. Everything else is part of it, you know, and I'm not ignorant to the fact that there's still a lot of other people that's got the wants and needs, and they've got jobs to do. And when I sit down up there and there's a vote, I'm going to educate myself on it, and I'm going to go out and get some, you know, Mayor Wise, Mayor Mathis. I'm going to talk to Ms. Hayes. I'm going to talk to people that are leaders in our community, and then I'm going to make the best decision that I can possibly make. Then I'm going to wear it, you know, and if somebody don't like it, they can call me and we can discuss it. But I'm going to wear it. I'm not going to back down from it. There's one guy that's been in politics in this community a long time that I respect, and I always said I would never run for office because I understand the details of it. I was raised in it, you know. So every 2 years having to run for an election with my father, it's stressful. It's stressful on kids. It's stressful on families. These people that get on Facebook and get on social media and just bash somebody that's elected, they don't realize the pressure they put on these people's families. And I don't believe that we have anybody with bad intentions in office now. I really don't. And I can remember as a child seeing a bad negative newspaper article or something. Thank God that we didn't have Facebook. But the stress it put on me. And these people have families, and they have, you know, they have wives, they have kids. And sometimes people just need to step back, take a deep breath. Instead of getting on social media, pick up the telephone, call them, or go see them. Say, hey, why did you vote like this? Why did you do this? Because they're just human. And you know, I don't believe nobody's doing nothing malicious on purpose. They've got a reason. If you'll sit down and listen to both sides of the story and different things, you know, the world will be a better place. So, you know, and I realized that, put myself out there, that I'm opening my kids up to a lot of stress. You know, my grandkids now and my family, and that's the one part that makes you want to hold back and say, you know, I don't really part of it. But if you do that, that's probably why our leadership to this country, you know, why would the great, rich, successful people now want to open themselves up to that kind of stuff? So that's where I'm at. You know, I'm going to do the very best I can. If you got a problem with the way I voted or something I've done, just call me or come by and see me, you know, and we'll sit down and talk about it. I'm going to stand by my decision. But I went in, somehow I got off on this. Steve Haley with the school board. You know,
yeah. I've
always respected Steve because over the years, I went to Steve over and over, not over and over, probably on 3, 4, maybe 5 issues. I'd say I didn't think this was right. You know, hey Steve, what about this? And he's always told me, Rusty, I'll get back to you. And he's always got back to me in a timely manner. Mm-hmm. And I always felt like he'd give me an educated, honest answer, whether I liked it or not. I felt like this is why he's going to vote this way, or this is why he feels this way. It's educated. I understand it. Whether I like it or not, I can respect it. And I've always said, if I ever get elected county commissioner, I want to be a lot like Steve is, because he's always had my respect for that point. He's going to tell me the truth, whether I like it or not. He's going to educate himself on it before he does it. Then that's the way it's going to be.
I have to agree with that because, you know, I follow the school board very closely because, you know, as a teacher, I'm just interested in where we're going. You know, what are we doing? And that's who kind of leads us. So just naturally want to follow them and learn what they're doing. And I have to say that any question I've ever had, I get the same response as you. Very educated, will take the time to explain it to me. And like I said, whether I agree with it or not, he's always been very kind to me and very helpful with me in the real estate world and on the school board as well. So I think that's a very great person to model yourself after. I have to admire you there. So I guess, Rusty, thank you for coming in. We pretty much answered all of my questions. I just have one more thing that I want to talk to you about before we wrap up the show. And we talked about it a little bit before the show, but the Lonesome Cabin is something near and dear to my heart. I love that place. I'm a history teacher over at Dickson County High School, and you know, teaching history, you know, one thing that I've always tried to do since I've been a teacher in Dickson County is to connect the local history with the state history and the national history. So if we're talking about the War of 1812 in class over here, I want to tell them all about that. I want to tell them about it from the perspective of a Tennessean, and even from the perspective of somebody who grew up here in Dickson County. And I've always, tried to do that. And one thing that's been helpful is, different historical landmarks and places here within the county that we can kind of connect to those major events. And the Lonesome Cabin is awesome. It was actually built by somebody who had served in the Revolutionary War, and the first person who lived in it was a veteran of the War of 1812, and a guy who fought in the Civil War grew up there. It's got a lot of history, and I just think it's a really cool place. And if you don't mind, maybe we could talk about that for just a second on the way out here. But that site over there has gone a long way. It has. It's been there a long time, but it just recently started being developed.
It has. I think when I took over as Parks Director in the city, I think it was 2016, 17, probably 17. The city of Burns had always had a park director, and it always had a park board, but it had never been a serious thing. It's never been something that was very taken serious, had much bite to it. And when the mayor and the council approached me and said, "Hey, we really need somebody to fix these parks and stuff," I said, "I'll do the job if you let me do my job." And I went and talked to Sherry Wilson. I think Sherry Wilson does an amazing job at the city of Dickson. Sherry's just been, and we've been friends all of our life. And I went and got a lot of input and advice from Sherry and how she does things and this and that. And there was a lot of issues I had. I mean, our Little League numbers was like at 100 when I took over. Our Cowboys had a lot of issues that everybody knew about. And there were several things that we didn't have a basketball league. And, that's the problem. Burns youth youth basketball in Dickson County started in Burns. Mm-hmm. It wasn't no South Dickson basketball league, no North basketball league. Cheryl Mathis, my mother, May Chandler, Kevin Stamper, Jerry Barber at the time. There was a lot of people around there that started youth basketball league in Dickson County in the old Burns gym. The Randy Tidwell Gymnasium now. We've renamed it to the Randy Tidwell Gymnasium. There was things I wanted. That was one of my goals. I wanted a parks board, so I went out and got people on the parks board that I knew was involved in the community. People that basketball, football, softball, baseball, Sammy Span, people like that I knew that was smart in their field of line of work, and then I give them the authority to do jobs. Because the city council give me the authority to do jobs. So we had a list we wanted to work on. We wanted to work on a new ballpark. We wanted to work on getting a new league director, which I got Terry Malone. Terry's done a fabulous job from 100 kids now and being $5,500 in the hole to the Little League is thriving. Got their own accounts set up. Kids, 300 to 400 kids. She's just done, in a short amount of time, what she's turned around has been awesome. I went and got a league director, J.P. Prim, to start a basketball league. And I didn't want just any basketball league. I wanted kids that wanted to be pushed and coached and pushed a little bit harder than everybody else. So we started the basketball league. I had some issues with the Cowboys. That's been noticed that we had a director in place that we just couldn't get along with, that I felt like we're not doing some things right. So I had that was an issue within itself. So it come to a head. So I went to the city council. Like I said, you can't do nothing great without great people. And the city council and the mayor, I said, "Hey, I can't get along. I can't get the financials from this guy. I can't do nothing. I'm trying to set in rules and policies in place for the kids." And the city council said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "The only thing I know is to get the Cowboys out of Burns." That's kind of like taking apple pie of America. Burns Cowboys started Tri-County. Tri-County started in Burns. Mm-hmm. And they looked at me, and I was like, "That's the only thing I know to do. I can't get these people on board." Well, if you think it's best to get the Cowboys out of Burns, that's what we're going to do. So we sent Tri-County a letter, and it come back that there wasn't no longer, Burns Cowboys no longer existed on city property in the city of Burns. At that time, we finally got the financials from Tri-County. We started an investigation, which ended to wrongdoings by the director. Mm-hmm. That's why I was having so much pushback. So at that time, then I went and got the Wombles, Donnie Womble, who Daddy started Tri-County football. So that's the biggest thing that I felt like we had obstacles in front of us first. So we put Donnie Womble back over the Burns Cowboys. I had a great leadership over the Little League at that time. Then I had Jay Priest starting the basketball league back up. So the next thing was Lonesome Cabin. And Lonesome Cabin is dear to me because I was raised in Burns, and Roger Mathis and Catherine Mathis, I've never called them Roger and Catherine. They've always been me, mom, pop to me. And that's the mayor's grandmother and grandfather. They live right there beside the Lonesome Cabin on that creek. Well, they had a grandson named Tracy that they raised there in that house. And me and Tracy Taylor was best friends. And I was raised in that house just like them. I run up down that creek, and the Lonesome Cabin always sat there. And we was part of it in the summertime. We'd run up down that creek and see that cabin and whatnot. And I guess the city, the Austin family, Bill Austin, who lives in Seattle, Washington, back probably it's probably been, 15 years ago now, donated that property to the city of Burns. And we had a board set up. They set a board up called the Lonesome Board. Miss Gail Jones and Mr. Darcy Deal. Several people have been on and off of Miss Gail. I've known Miss Gail used to be my neighbor most of my life growing up. A lot of respect for Miss Darcy and Miss Gail and them. They've done. There were so many ideals going on that nothing ever got done. So the city had possession of Lonesome for about 7, 8, 9 years, and it was just kind of sitting there because you had the Austin family in Seattle, and you had Miss Gail trying to do whatever she could. She just couldn't get the ball rolling. So at that time, we kind of restructured everything, and we said, okay, the Lonesome Board, we're going to keep the Lonesome Board, but the Parks Board's going to be over Lonesome Park. I really want to see some progress down here. That there's things that need to be going and decisions got to be made. And I know y'all have a hard time all agreeing. It's like you said, it's just like any county commissioner, any city council, or any public group. Once you get a bunch of people's opinions and nobody wants to hurt anybody's feelings, and I think that's a lot of things with our city councils and you made a county commissioner or city council out in public. No, we're going to do this and we're going to do that and we're going to do this. And Carol Sullivan's always told me my whole life, their air gets awful thin in the council saying, everybody's got an opinion. When they get in that seat, all of a sudden they lose their mind. They just can't think, and it's just people make a hard time putting herself out there. That's something I can promise. Anybody that knows me knows if I got an opinion and we go to Dickson County and you put me in the 11th seat of the county commission and there's something that needs to be addressed, I'm not scared to speak up and address it. That's something, but it's just human nature. I'm not saying nothing bad about them. So we when it comes to Lonesome, we say, hey, it's time to get this thing moving. Y'all can make the decisions or I'm going to make the decisions for you. And so Miss Gail and the Austin family have really got on board, and they've really got a lot of growth going out there now. We got sponsorships. They got a donation, and sometimes you'll talk to Miss Gail about it, and I don't know, I know because I get all their financials and everything's reported to me. They've really done a great job of raising money now, and they've got money now to do the historical restoration of the cabin. We've got a master plan that Miss Gail and the Austin family and Miss Darcy and all that bunch has worked on very hard. We've cleared a lot of land, and today was, I'm not gonna lie, today was the first time I've been down there since my wreck. I've not been able to. And I'd heard, during the reports, and Miss Gail called me and she said, the flood done this damage and the tornado come through and done this damage. We really started cleaning it off where you could get to the creek before I had my accident, and had walking trails around the complete park and little cut through trails that we had plans. Miss Gail kept saying, we got trouble up there. Well, today I realized what she was talking about. It pretty much destroyed it. And I guess for the last 9 months, it's just not, usually I take the lead on that. I built, building the trails and cleaning and stuff like that. I'm pretty much a one-man show when it comes to our maintenance and construction in Burns. And for the last 9 months, I've been out. So today it was kind of heartbroken and disappointed that the way things look now, and I'm going to take the responsibility to that because I've not been there. But I promise you I'm getting back on track, and we're going to get it fixed back up. And I want that place to be historical. I want the Austin heritage to be, but I also want it belongs to the taxpayer of Burns. And I want it developed to where the taxpayers of Burns and the community can enjoy it. If we're going to spend taxpayers' money on it, it's going to be a place where you can't come. You just don't pull into the driveway and look, say, yeah, there's a cabin, we leave. We want events there. We want the kids to be able to come out and play in the grass. We want to fix the parking lot, put the field back in if they want to go down there and throw a ball or kick a soccer ball. We want to put our walking trails back in. I'm going to get off, when I leave here today, I'm fixing to go to a log cutter and get them trails fixed back so people can come do the nature walk. I want it to be a place where people can come, bring their families, and enjoy it. Because it's like if you've never been to Lonesome Park, when you round that bend and you see it, it's like, how is this here? It's kind of a hidden jewel, and I don't think enough people know enough about it. It is a city park. It's owned by the taxpayers, and you are welcome to come. And I don't think we've done a good enough message to get it out there, but I also don't think we've done good enough yet to get enough things to keep people's interest there. And so going forward, as our Parks Board and Parks Director and our city, I know our mayor's behind us and our council's behind. That's going to be a big project in the next few years. We're rounding up the ballpark. The ballpark's about done. We get these football fields, their next big project's going to be focusing on the Lonesome Park. Because like you said, it's a great place, and it's a place that's a treasure for that area, and people that they really need to know about it.
People don't realize how special it is because there's just not a whole lot of cabins like that that are 200 years old that are still in existence. Most of those older buildings, when you get to 200 years old, The structures that have survived are usually brick buildings, and so we've got a few of those within the county, but very rare do you see a cabin like that survives. So it's just real special to me, and I appreciate you giving us that explanation.
It is, and we've talked about it. I really want an educational. I want our trails. You know, I've got ideas, and I've talked to the Lonesome board about it, and we was. Man, I hate going back to the accident, but right at the time of the accident, I had everything drawn out and sent to Allegra. Well, I think where you would have a trail where kids could go and read about certain like pioneers of the area. Way pioneers settled Burns in that part of the county. Then I would have another trail where you could walk around identifying trees and plants. So I wanted to make, I'm going to, if I live long enough, we're going to make that as a Parks Board in the city of Burns, an educational place where people can come walk through the woods in this little spot that you never would think would be there. Walk the creek, see different species of plants and vegetation and trees, and also get an education on pioneers in the area. And that's something that I really am proud of for the city. And if you've never been to Lonesome Park, take the time to go find it. I know it's hard to find. We're going to do something about that entrance. It's right there on Highway 96. If you know where Cunningham Tractor is, if you're going from the four-way stop towards Nashville, if you pass the Cunningham Tractor right there on 96, it looks like a driveway. There is a sign there. There's two driveways side by side. Take the second driveway, pull down there, and there's thing to the left, and that's city property. You're welcome there anytime. If you come up to S&S, you've gone too far. So if you live in that area, take the time to go to Lonesome Park and just sit down and just listen to the water run and nature. It's awesome.
It's awesome. And I think they've done some farmers markets out there and some different things. So there may be some events taking place, but by all means, just go out and check it out if you're from Burns or even anywhere in Dickson County. It's a beautiful place. All right, we're getting down here to the end. I got a few standard questions I need to ask you. One thing I like to ask people before I let them go is if I were to run into you, and I'm just some random guy, and I would run into you down maybe at the Burns ball field or something, and what would be your elevator pitch if you only had maybe like 30 seconds or 60 seconds to talk to me? And I said, hey Rusty, I heard you're running for office, why should I vote for you? What would your answer be?
I'm going to do the very best I can. I've got a good work ethic, and I'm not going to be pushed around. I'm not going to be bullied. Nobody's going to make me vote a certain way. I'm going to do what I think's best for our county. I'm going to do what is best I think for our kids, and that's just the way it is. I'm going to do the very best job I can.
Is there a way that people can get a hold of you? Maybe they've listened to this conversation and they think, I got one question I'd like to ask Rusty about something. How could somebody get a hold of you, maybe to talk to you, maybe give you a chance to talk them into voting for you?
Sure, they'd always get a hold of me. I don't do a lot of social media. If I do Facebook, Facebook is Daryl, Daryl Lee Grove, Grove, no S. It's just one of me. Or you can always call me. I mean, my phone's pretty much a public phone. I mean, my business, I got to have it, and everybody in the city of Burns has to call me on it and get a hold of me. So it's 615-948-2221, and I'm available 24/7. That's my job, to answer the phone.
Are there going to be any upcoming events or special appearances where people can come by and talk to you? Like I know this past weekend was the Promised Land Festival out there. We've got there's something going on down here in downtown Dickson, the Street Festival in a couple of weeks. Is there anything like that you want to talk about? I'm not that guy that's going to I'm not that guy that's going to just make an appearance just because I'm running for office. I am who I am. I'm not going to change my daily routine. I got a lot of work to do. I try to go out and catch people if I'm driving down the road and I know you're in my district and I see you in your yard. I'm going to get out and I'm going to talk to you and I'm going to hand you a card and I'm going to ask you for your vote. The one thing that I will be at is the barbecue bash on July 31st in Burns. It'll be the second one. I will be there because I'll be a part of it. I'm not going to say, like this week I went to the spring fling one night just because I like going to spring fling. It's not because I'm just putting on a show to meet people and put on. I am who I am. I'm not going to dress up, and I'm not going to go out here and kiss your baby just to kiss your baby. If I kiss it now, I'm going to kiss it a year from now, win, lose, or draw. I'm not going to go out to all these special meetings and rub elbows with these people running for office. That's not who I am. I'm sorry. But anybody knows that I'm just going to be me, and I'm not going to go. I know that people do it, and I get it, One thing is I don't know. I'm in District 11. I'm not a county-wide race. I can't just run all over the county all the time and just shake people's hands. Most of them not even in my district. I still coach softball.
Travel ball started up. I still got my girls now. We went to a tournament this weekend. First time in 10 months I was able to coach my girls. I've had them girls since they 6, 7 years old. I was proud to be about that. Friday nights, if you want to find me, I'm usually dragging the ball field, getting ready for Saturday. I'm picking up trash. I'm out there. I'm picking up trash all day Saturday, and I'm picking up trash all night Friday night and during the week. I'm just not. I don't want to sound too, but I am who I am. And I'm just not going to go out and just rub noses and elbows with people just because I'm running office. I had somebody come tell me the other day, hey, you need to come go to church with me and see. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to show up in your church just because I'm running for office. I was born and raised in the Burns Church of Christ, the old Burns Church of Christ. If I'm going to go to church, I'm going to go to the Burns Church of Christ if I was going to go. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going to hop around churches. I'm not going to hop around community centers and do stuff like that. I'm going to try to see you in your house or in your yard. If I know you live in my district, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to ask you for your vote to tell you if I get your vote and I get elected, I'll always be in here for you. You can always pick up the phone and call me, and I'll always listen to you.
I really appreciate you doing this. My whole goal for this podcast is just to get the information out to people, and just so they can get an idea a little bit about your personality and a little bit about what you're planning on doing if you happen to win. So really appreciate you doing this. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you want to mention while we got the opportunity here?
I appreciate you, Justin, and I appreciate my opponent, and I appreciate anybody that's running for office because it's out there. I don't know my opponent, but I appreciate if he gets elected, if he ever needs anything, I'll be there. Anybody that's running for public office, I just appreciate them because it's pretty, like I said, it puts a lot of stress on them. It puts a lot of stress on their family, their kids, and anybody surrounding them.
I agree 100%. That's one reason why I decided to do this. I wanted just to give you an opportunity to talk to people and just a direct line to them because it is tough, and I truly value anybody who's willing to put themselves out there and work harder to make this county a great place, because I do believe it's a great place to live, and I just want to keep it that way just like everybody else. So thank you so much for coming by. I truly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody for listening. If you're listening to this and you're running for office and you're thinking, I'd love to be on your show, Justin, well, all you got to do is just send me a message on Facebook or social media or anywhere you can find me like that. Or feel free to send me an email. My email is coachspurlock@gmail.com. And if you just send me a message, I'll be glad to get you on this show. We'll work out a day and a time and be glad to talk to you. So, again, thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks to Daryl Lee Grove for coming on the show today, better known as Rusty. But on the ballot, it'll probably be Daryl Lee Grove. So
I'm trying to give him just put Coach on there. Maybe I can get more votes, but they said they wouldn't do that.
They won't do that?
No,
man.
It's going to be Daryl Lee, Rusty Grove.
That's how most people know me, too, is Coach Spurlock.
That's it, just Coach.
Well, again, thanks for coming on. And real quick, do you know when voting is for the people?
I know the general election is August the 4th. I think early voting probably starts about the first week in July, probably.
Yes.
Runs to the last week in July.
So just a few more weeks.
Yeah, get out, vote early, vote often.
There you go.
I appreciate you. If you're in a member of the 11th district, I appreciate your vote. If I don't get to see you face to face, I want you to know that your vote's important, and I always appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rusty. Thank you for coming on the show today. Appreciate it.